Hello and welcome to the News9 Plus Show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. 89 seats across 12 states and union territories go to the polls on Friday. Now that's 1/3 of the 543 Lok Sabha seats. All seats in Kerala, Rajasthan, Manipur and Tripura, and 14 of the 28 seats in Karnataka. Today we're looking at the KKR matrix: Kerala, Karnataka and Rajasthan. These are the three big states that are going to the polls tomorrow. The BJP is defending its tally in at least half of these seats. Out of these, in 2019, the BJP had won 72 seats. It had a vote share of more than 40% in 56 of these seats. And in the 2024 elections, the BJP is looking at winning its first seats in Kerala. It's looking at bettering its seat tally in Karnataka, where 14 seats, half of the 28 Lok Sabha seats in the state, are going to the polls. It's looking to sweep Rajasthan, where it had won all 25 seats in 2019. Will the BJP be able to pull this off? Will the KKR win it for the BJP? Joining me to discuss this are Jayanta Roy Chowdhury, A Saye Sekhar, Brijesh Pandey, my colleague Waji from Bengaluru. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus Show. Brijesh, tough struggle for the BJP tomorrow. They have a lot to prove in the second phase.
Well, absolutely. And I think, the challenge is, the biggest challenge which they are facing right now is in the state of Karnataka.
Yes.
Because, this has been a saffron bastion irrespective of what the result in assembly is.
Right.
The general elections, 14 and 19 has gone the Modi way. But if you look at the way tickets have been distribution, if you look at the way there is open rebellion,
right,
look at the way that BJP has not been able to quell it. Otherwise, it's known as a very disciplined party where not a leaf goes out of place without the approval of the top two.
Right.
This has been a completely disorganized house, both in assembly as well as in the state of in general election. They won 25 seats out of 28 seats last time.
Yes.
And this makes Karnataka the most crucial election for them.
Right.
I mean, in Kerala also, because it has been fighting an ideological battle, the left versus RSS, the killings, which has been going on for a very long time.
Right.
I think if they're able to make inroads into Kerala, win a couple of seats, then that is going to be a big bonus for them. It's more for the, for the victory symbols rather than getting them big number of seats there. But I think, Karnataka is very crucial for them, and a section of Rajasthan also, because in 2014 and 19, BJP won 25 out of 25.
Yes.
But in 2024, there are 4 to 5 seats which are potential troublemaker for them, and BJP would not want to lose even a single seat in the state of Rajasthan.
Absolutely. BJP looking for a clean sweep in Rajasthan and planning to increase its tally in Karnataka. But let's talk to our man on the ground in Karnataka, my colleague Mohammad Wajihulla. Waji, what's the feeling like in Karnataka right now? Apart from the rising temperature and the water shortage, what else is enthusing voters there? What has got everyone, a buzz?
Well, right now we are in the Prachar Samiti time where nobody is going to talk about what is happening, who are they going to vote. But from the last few days that we've been traveling Karnataka, the sense that we get is exactly on the same lines of what Mr. Brijesh is saying, because we've seen how there's been infighting within the party. There's also been suspension of various leaders also in the party, and these are those leaders who started the BJP in Karnataka. But when you look at the numbers of it, both the political parties are trying to pin themselves to 15 seats each. Even the BJP is saying that they will get close to, this is the 15 seats that I'm talking about is off the record conversations that I'm having with them. They're saying that it's close to 15 to 13 to 15 seats where they feel that they have go ahead in it and where they'll completely win without any problem. The other 10 seats is where they're going to have a difficulty, keeping in mind that they won 25 last time. The Congress, on the other hand, seems more confident. Till a month back, they were also saying 10 to 15 seats. But this month, if you ask any Congress leader, he's short to say that 21 seats is guaranteed in Karnataka. So both these parties are head on. But if you see the contribution of the JDS, it's the JDS who's going to feel left out, because that is where the strong fight is, whether Kumaraswamy will be able to get at least two seats out of the 3 seats where his family is fighting, where he and Revanna's son is fighting, so Prajwal Revanna. So those two seats is something that is a dicey game because the candidates for the Congress also are very strong in these regions. So it now remains to be seen how well will the BJP able to get 25 is a little difficult right now. But will they able to get that majority to help them in the center is something we'll have to wait and watch. But as
Right.
of now, BJP says 10 to 13 to 15, Congress is standing at 20.
BJP 13 to 15, and that it looks like a very low number, Vaji, but I mean, we'll know on the 4th of June. But Saye Sekhar, this, how much of a challenge is Karnataka going to be for the BJP? The BJP is the party that, that had a bastion in Karnataka. It's the only state where it's comprehensively won several election victories. It's run state governments there. How crucial is Karnataka for the BJP's mission 370?
There's no doubt about it, because BJP thinks that it's going to be a roller coaster result. In the assembly elections, one party wins, and the Lok Sabha elections traditionally another party wins. That is what the BJP is expecting. But I do not know how people would behave, because Siddaramaiah has been able to implement some of the guarantees that the
Right.
Congress has been as promised, and the Congress government there is trying to ride on the crest of their popularity. But then within 1 year there is a lot of resentment among the people that cannot be discounted.
Right.
So we have to see how best BJP will be able to pull through with more numbers, and whether it can really hit that 25 out of 28, we need to
Right.
see.
Absolutely. We need to see that. And Jayanta Roy Chowdhury, the fact that the BJP is actually on the defensive here, they are defending a lot of the seats that they won in 2019. And Karnataka is a challenge for them, because they need to win more than 25 seats at least from what they won the last time around. And of course, as Brijesh mentioned, Rajasthan, they have to repeat a clean sweep over there. They have to break into Kerala. They have to do so much. There's a lot riding on the BJP in the second phase. How crucial do you think the KKR phase, this second phase of the elections beginning tomorrow, is going to be for the BJP?
This phase is crucial because one, Karnataka is really the only southern bastion that the BJP has. Any losses there, they had 25 there last time. Even if they come down to 18 or 20, which is what is being predicted by many, then that is a major loss of face more than anything else.
Yes.
Secondly, you have to realize that they have reached a kind of peak as far as the Hindi-speaking belt is concerned. They can't really expand further there. So their numbers are probably going to be slightly lesser than what it was 2019, if not substantially lesser. So any making up in the southern states seems very difficult. In this round, KKR, Karnataka, if they do well, which they are supposed to, they will still not be able to outdo what they did last time round. Will they do as well as they did in Rajasthan last time? Again, there is a question mark on it. Your own reporter is talking about problems within the party there itself, the loss of the way candidates have been fielded, etc. So second round looks a little slightly uphill. The good news for the BJP, of course, is that there is a possibility for them to make one space in Kerala, which also is in doubt, but there is a possibility. At least their voting percentage will certainly go up, which is a good thing for BJP. Tripura, they will certainly get both the two seats. It's not a big deal for them. With their alliance with Pradyot Kumar's party, the Tripura Royals party, I think they should be able to get both the seats.
Right, they should be able to get both the seats there, but of course the big challenge there for the BJP in Karnataka, as our panelists just told us. Let's look at the key contests in Karnataka. Some very interesting fights there in Bangalore rural, for instance. Dr. C.N. Manjunath of the BJP versus D.K. Suresh of the Congress. In Mandya, you have H.D. Kumaraswamy of the JDS versus Venkatramaya Gowda of the Congress. Will the BJP be able to pull out more seats as polls are showing? Saye Sekhar, how does the JDS, what does the JDS really bring to the table when it comes to the BJP? Vaji says that they're looking at just barely making 2 seats, breaking in on that. What was the calculation of tying up with Kumaraswamy and Mr. Devagowda?
It's only a ploy they use to undercut the votes of the Congress, and Kumaraswamy's party has always been queering the pitch. That's what I would say, because
Right.
per se on its own, they have never been able to form the government and make it to the power. Always it was with the support of other parties they came to power, and as long as they enjoyed the confidence of those parties, they stayed on, and as long the moment they lost it, they were thrown out. That was not the case when Devagowda was the chief minister, because Janata Party was a bigger formation at that point in time. But once Kumaraswamy has come into play, it's always been fledgling. So I doubt whether BJP would gain a lot of benefit because of Devagowda's party.
Right. There's a big question mark there on the JDS tie-up with the BJP. But in Rajasthan, Brijesh, 13 out of the 25 seats going to the polls. There are 4 big seats there. Union Minister Gajendra Shekhawat and Karan Singh. That's a key contest. Lumbaram Chowdhury versus Vaibhav Gehlot of the Congress, another key candidate. Om Birla versus Prahlad Gunjal. That's a third key contest. Dushyant Singh of the BJP versus Urmila Bhaiya of the Congress. Will the BJP be able to pull off its 25 seat sweep again, Brijesh?
I think, there is a degree of problem in candidate selection as well. 2024 is not 2014. And the reason I'm saying this is that, for 14 and 19, there was an absolute abject surrender of the organization, as well as, anybody who harbored resentment towards the official candidate. They would not go to town talking about it because they felt that, that'll be end of their political career. 24 is completely different. In Jodhpur, where Gajendra Singh Shekhawat is fighting elections, he has openly said twice or thrice that, कि मेरे अपने ही मेरे पीठ पे छुरा भोंक रहे हैं. And in Kota, the Om Birla, which is the bastion of Om Birla, the Lok Sabha speaker, situation is also not that honky-dory. It all depends on. And it is, the easiest thing to say, but therein lies the catch, is how effectively Congress has marshaled its resources on the ground. If the Congress has been able to take advantage of it, then they would be able to win at least 2 to 3 seats or 3 to 4 seats in Rajasthan. If they have not been able to take advantage of it, then the chances of them coming back or ensuring a repeat of 25-0, I don't see any BJP having any problem with it. Because BJP has deployed more resources on the ground to make sure that these differences are reconciled, and that is why we are seeing meetings of Gajendra Singh Shekhawat with the people who are against Gajendra Singh Shekhawat and the chief minister sitting together trying to iron out all those differences. So problem is there, but whether the Congress party is capable of taking advantage of that problem or not lies the problem as well as the solution.
Right, and absolutely, and moving from the deserts of Rajasthan to the backwaters of Kerala, Brijesh, some very key contests over there. The BJP trying to break into the southernmost state. It's never won a seat over there. You're looking at contests in Wayanad, of course, where Rahul Gandhi is contesting. A 3-cornered contest over there with Annie Raja and, of course, the Congress candidate there. Pathanamthitta, where Mr. A.K. Antony's son is contesting on a BJP ticket, and I think it's probably the first time we've seen in recent political history where a father said that I hope my son loses. I mean, it's unprecedented. And the most interesting contest of all of these, Brijesh, is Thiruvananthapuram.
I think, the real contest which is happening in Karnataka, where BJP hopes or feels that it stands a chance, is happening in Thiruvananthapuram.
Yes.
I don't see Rahul Gandhi losing Wayanad. He sits pretty right at the top, given the composition of the society and so on and so forth. A.K. Antony's son is there. He wants to win the election. That is all right. But, the stranglehold of Congress led UDF is there and was pretty much visible
and the LDF.
in the 2019 when they won 19 out of 20 Lok Sabha seats. I think the contest is there in Thiruvananthapuram. But, Dr. Shashi Tharoor is also giving a very good fight. So I think if on 4th of June, if there's one of the few seats which everybody will be looking eagerly forward to, I think Thiruvananthapuram will be the seat from Kerala.
Jayanta Roy Chowdhury, Thiruvananthapuram, possibly one of the key contests in this entire Lok Sabha election of 2024, where Rajiv Chandrasekhar is taking on Dr. Shashi Tharoor, and Shashi Tharoor has represented the seat, Brijesh, for 3 times, and this is the 4th time he's going to be, in the
He's
fray.
a pretty popular leader over there.
Extremely popular there, and Rajiv Chandrasekhar, a Keralite, a minister, but not from Kerala, and he is fighting the battle of his life. It's his first Lok Sabha contest. And how closely are you watching this election, and what will it tell you about the BJP's Mission South India?
Well, two things. One, of course, it's a smart move on BJP's part to have fielded Rajiv Chandrasekharan.
Yes.
But nevertheless, Shashi Tharoor seems to be on a stronger wicket. He is, as my co-anchor pointed out, is extremely popular in Kerala especially. But he is popular actually amongst the educated people all over the country. So Tharoor has, I think, we can only say that he will get a good challenge
Yes.
from Chandrasekharan. I
Right.
doubt if it would be possible for BJP to defeat him. But BJP's main aim in this entire election in Kerala is not so much as to win a seat,
Right.
but as to improve their voting percentages there. They want
Yes.
to prove that they are a relevant force in South India,
Right.
which is why they are, for the first time, they are fighting all alone in Tamil Nadu in all the seats.
Yes.
They want to prove that they can get a significant percentage of the vote in Tamil Nadu, a significant percentage of the vote in Kerala, where actually the percentage might be higher for BJP.
Right.
Because frankly speaking, the fight between the CPM and the Congress makes sense when it is for the assembly. It doesn't really make much sense when it is for the national elections, because they are going to form whatever they kind of coalition they form, even if they don't win the parliamentary elections and form a government, they will still be together in the Lok Sabha. So this battle between Congress and CPM is not something which will cut ice with the electorate there much. Individuals will actually be more important there. But BJP will get what can be called the anti-vote, anti-CPM vote to quite a large extent. And that is where BJP will come up. It will be able to say that, look, we are a pan-India party. We have significant amount of votes, even in the southern states.
Right, 1/3 of the seats going to the elections in a few hours from now, and we'll know all the answers to all the questions that we've just raised. All my co-panelists, I want to thank you all for participating in this talk on the KKR phase of the election, the Kerala, Karnataka, Rajasthan phase. Thanks very much, Sai, Jayanta Roy Chowdhury, my colleague Brijesh, and Vaji from Bengaluru. We'll know in a few hours from now how crucial tomorrow's elections are going to be. The Congress Party's controversial promise of affirmative action has sparked a major uproar in election season. Now, anything less than a close fight in the general elections will be demoralizing for the party cadre. Rahul's calls for wealth redistribution has given the BJP ammunition, and the Congress is banking on its welfare outreach to woo voters. Will it work? Catch our story, Rahul's Robin Hood promise, on the News9 Plus app.
Let me tell you, in America, there is an inheritance tax. So if, let's say, one has $100 million worth of wealth, and when he dies, he can only transfer probably 45% to his children. 55% is grabbed by government, which to me sounds fair. In India, you don't have that.
यानी कांग्रेस का मंत्र है कांग्रेस की लूट, कांग्रेस का मंत्र है कांग्रेस की लूट, जिंदगी के साथ भी और जिंदगी के बाद भी।
Global arms spending is a bit like global warming. Each year sees an increase in global military spending. We know that. But this year, it's different. World military expenditure has increased for the 9th consecutive year in 2023. It's reached a total global spend of $2.4 trillion. In fact, global military spending rose by 6.8% over last year. It's the steepest year-on-year rise since 2009. And for the first time in 15 years, the spending has grown in all 6 continents. Now, why is it growing? Joining me to discuss this is Lorenzo Scarazzato from CIPRI and my colleague Deepak Vadana. Lorenzo, welcome to the News9 Plus Show.
Thanks for having me.
I want to start by asking you, the CIPRI database is a global benchmark. It's a barometer of the way the world is spending on military. It's also like a kind of a thermometer, if I could put it that way, to tell you how fears and anxieties and wars are fueling this global arms race, so to speak. Why are why are the numbers this year more alarming than what it was the previous year?
Yes, you're correct. So here, simply what we do is try to map what's going on with the war military expenditure in order to provide what we believe are unbiased data so that people can conduct analysis and research on these data. I believe the increase is a reflection of a war that feels less secure. There are wars going on, there are insecurities and tensions, and more states are resorting to military expenditure as a way to bolster their own security, or at least their perceived security. Of course, then it's a vicious cycle. My security can reflect as someone else's insecurity.
Right.
It's the so-called security dilemma.
There's a so-called security dilemma, Deepak, as Lorenzo just mentioned. And, I like the headline of the CIPRI report, which says that war, rising tensions and insecurity. When is the last time we saw so many wars on in the world simultaneously? 2 wars and 2 waiting in the shadows.
I think the situation today is unprecedented in some ways, particularly when it comes to India.
Right.
I mean, if we look at India, to our east, Myanmar is in meltdown.
Yes.
To our west, the West Asian crisis just goes, deeper and deeper. There are tensions in Ukraine. The war
Yes.
is now in its 3rd year.
Yes.
So no wonder everybody is just gearing up to face the worst case scenario.
Right.
Now the worst case scenario could differ from country to country.
Absolutely. Yeah. But Lorenzo, this important point in the report is that NATO has finally met its commitment to this 2%, spending 2% of its GDP on defense spending, and the more interesting part is that it's directed 20% of its spending to equipment. Is this a bonanza for defense equipment companies?
Let me clarify here. So in Wales in 2014, NATO member states agreed on reaching 2%
Right.
of their GDP to be spent on defense. At the same time, 20% of this amount of money should be spent, according to NATO, for equipment. We've seen how increasingly many states, more and more states, are trying to reach this threshold. And 2023 was the year where the most, 11 out of 31 reached 2%. And equipment has been increasing as well. We try to differentiate between military spending and arms production, but indeed, if you're procuring equipment, someone has to produce that equipment. Last December, we published data on arms production, but we've seen how there is increasing demand, but also there's a backlog, there's supply chain disruptions. So the arms industry is not being able to gear up, or at least it has not been able so far to produce the amount of equipment required.
Right. So, Lorenzo, would you see the COVID, the pandemic, as being a kind of a watershed era, differentiating the world before the pandemic in terms of military spending and the world after? Because I'm fully aware of the fact that it's after the pandemic that you saw a series of conflicts, starting from Russia in Ukraine, and of course Israel in Gaza, and you're looking at potential conflict zones. You have one in the Red Sea with the Houthis fighting a coalition there, and possibly China and Taiwan. Is this the world after the pandemic where you're heading into uncharted waters in terms of a lot of countries asserting themselves militarily rather than opting for negotiations?
Well, I'm not sure we can draw a causality link there, but for sure during the years of the pandemic, priorities were different.
Right.
Governments were not as concerned as hard security, but were perhaps more concerned on public health and these kind of aspects in their spending. Of course, after the pandemic phased out, new challenges came up. Definitely, the pandemic has not done the world any favors when it comes to diplomacy. We see some strained relationship getting even worse. But yeah, I wouldn't say the pandemic is the reason so many wars or tensions are springing up now. But perhaps yes, there's a shift in priorities when it comes to government.
Right, the shift in priorities from health emergencies to national security, Deepak.
Exactly. If you look at the top 10 countries, you'll see that every one of those countries, the proportion of their finances that are now going towards weapons procurement and manufacturing has gone up.
Right.
Now, it should also be noted that post-pandemic, many of these countries can ill afford to do that.
Right.
So I would like to ask Lorenzo, who does he see as the winners and losers out of this new trend? If you look at it, 17 of the world's top 20 manufacturers are in the US.
Right.
Norinco in China and Russia are again, they're flourishing. So who do you think are the winners and losers when we look at the economic aspect of this trend?
So I work for a Peace Research Institute, so perhaps my definition of winners and losers is different from what governments define. So we try to be unbiased when we provide our data. There's no doubt that when it comes to the arms industry, there are some regional focuses. As you said, many of the major arms producers are in the US. And when it comes to big buyers, many of these are, let's say Europe. So countries that are perhaps more developed have more money to develop to devolve to arms production. They tend to buy from their allies. So there's no doubt that rising tensions can provide some benefits to arms companies that produce for their allies. We've seen how, for example, in China, but it's the same in India, governments are trying to prioritize self-reliance, so independence. So if a government decides that self-reliance is the way to go, there's going to be some money dedicated to the local domestic defense industry. It's the same when it comes to the US, and we see how Europe is trying to bolster its own arms industry.
Right, absolutely. And Lorenzo, that is my next question. The fact that over the last 4 years, India has made very concerted attempts to indigenize weapons manufacturing. The government has in fact drawn up lists where it bans the imports of certain types of equipment. They want it to make it locally. So it's the most concerted attempt, to my mind, in the last 75 years or so of India's history. But the interesting part is that the CIPRI report mentions that India continues to top the world arms import tables. Between 2019 and 23, imports have in fact gone up by 4.7% as compared to 14 to 18. But how long do you think it would be before the government of India's drive to indigenize actually bears fruit? Because we are acutely aware of the fact that we are number one, but the government does not, is trying to shed that dubious title. How long do you think it will take before, countries typically turn the corner on becoming self-sufficient?
So as you said, we see now India has been prioritizing this for quite some time. At the same time, we have to recognize that even other states that are trying to do the same are not 100% self-sufficient. I always draw the parallel of Europe, where some European capabilities are always being bought by the US. So we have to differentiate what we mean. Definitely the fact that Russia is now sanctioned by most of the Western world is also driving India towards staying clear from Russian producers. So therefore that's an additional booster to the effort of the domestic industry in India. So I cannot give you a deadline. Ultimately it comes down to how much money is going to be spent and what kind of programs the government is pushing for. But what I can tell you is that we've seen these efforts. They are trying to produce some results. Some results have already been achieved, and some results are being forced from outside circumstances, such as Russia being sanctioned by the world, and India trying to balance the relationship with the West and Russia as well.
Right, absolutely. And my last point is that there's an interesting factoid there, and Deepak, you would be interested because you've been tracking Iran very closely. The CIPRI report mentions that the share allotted to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps actually grew from 27% to 37% in about 4 years' time. That's a very interesting fact, given the fact that the IRGC is not the official military of Iran. It's the military wing of the party. How significant is this in the light of the tensions in West Asia currently?
Yes. So what's important to notice here is that CIPRI has its own methodology. So what we consider military spending might not be considered as such by countries or by other organizations. The fact that money was devolved for the Revolutionary Guard is definitely something to say that perhaps some Iranian expert has ways to deepen more. But I would say that's, again, the reflection of perhaps a government that feels less secure and is trying to find ways to exert its control on either the population but also its neighborhood.
Right, absolutely. And my last question, Lorenzo, before you go is the point that I opened with, that is arms spending, is it like global warming? Are we destined to see increases, record increases in this case, in this year after year, without any respite? It's been the case for the last 15 years. Do you think this is going to continue, given the fact of, again, another important point, the violence and counter-violence that you mentioned in the report?
Yes, well, again, I work for a peace research institute, so my hope is that that will not be the case. However, given the situation, which looks quite grim, and we've seen how countries are gearing up for longer time frames. So I would say in the short term at least, it seems unlikely that military spending is going to decrease. At the same time, perhaps it can be easier to talk and perhaps involve into diplomatic solutions and in a way find a common path towards decreasing military spending. We try to conduct studies that way. I do not cover global warming, but that seems to be more complicated to stop.
Right. Peace and negotiations are the way forward, Deepak. And again, to my mind, what Prime Minister Modi said, now is not the time for war. And if more of the countries of the world listen to that, we wouldn't see these kind of record increases. But thank you very much, Lorenzo, for joining us from Stockholm, clarifying this very worrying report on the spike in military spending across the world. Of course, that's a function of the world that we live in, the rising tensions, the war and insecurity that the world is currently facing. But thanks very much for watching.